Now, again, if we really wanted to make this thing the Putinum, we can. In the next 5 pending ways arithmetic is necessary for dealing with the battlefield, the dual diagnosis of troops trained with comms inside of the system to hold down, don't turn down, photoelectric effect. I'm telling them to stand down. If they're not, they're definitely an enemy, not just of your state, but of our state, in terms of what the equipment is for Tojo's crew holding on to an island from, you know, up 40 years after the war was over. There's X equals X plus 1 sometimes there, Forrest Gump, while beating feet on this kind of frame rate that actually opposes why that type of mathematics would still be analytic. It didn't physically break the universe by being on the board like that. To describe the statement, though, is irrational. To say it didn't have a value while watching Goku and Beerus there go at it up top, you know, at speed of light, causally banging it out inside of here. Well, at any rate, those became, you know, this is like the programming floor work for that mechanic. So getting in here, first 5 days of the invasion, that derivative in dual diagnosis is certainly definitely relative on my board. It's what I lead to train inside of here because it's still the common model, all that.
Closer look now at the changing battlefield in Ukraine. Russia's military
well,
advance not
definitely
as
a
quick
soft
as Moscow
war.
anticipated, but
You know, the worst thing, the only thing you could really play troops in themselves for in uniform is a diversionary state. And realistically, you know, there might be some brawler nature to having a tank crew unit inside of the pack, but realistically, walk into the building and do the argument better than they can, square off their stuff, and then not just do it, but at the approximation of the divisible, or the summoned division that doesn't cause disruptions inside of the standards. We can add, we can subtract like that. I have no problem doing your version of the hoodoo voodoo you do on here, because we can still both do X, and in your local area that works somehow, some way. I may not always believe it, but that happens sometimes, especially in troops that aren't trained a wall. I thought we were doing the Wally Wally Washington over here, taking out all the brothers in the stone mill. No. See, that monster is monster. An overburden problem, just a few $100,000 you got to stack up just to buy the land, check the sample, see what's going on, because otherwise you're just going to hit jank rock and have to be making mosaics out of the small pieces you put together.
There's a Russian convoy.
You want the brick, you want them Buddhas, you want them big stones, those steps.
What have the Ukrainians learned in the first 5 days that they should be applying today?
Great question, John. What the Russians have clearly demonstrated.
Well, you should probably look at a field trip with male and female students and figure out the percentage. You should probably look at Jenna and Staffa across together paying out their pie chart for the weekly monthlies, or however you're going to break down that algorithm. Dave borrowing money from the bank at any rate, side of here. The ratio of men and women in the city for doing certain sets. Now, I'm not telling you exactly what it is, but 2 trains starting at the same X going in A1 and A2 here.
And the success of the Ukrainian
pretty straightforward stuff.
If they can make Kyiv a deadly, hard fight,
whatever the 5 is. Like I said, you know, what type of circle from that area, timeline to the hypersonic rocket do you got here for a class trip within X, Y, R, whatever, how you want to pound that out, man.
It's just been phenomenal. Belongs to the Ukrainians. And what you see with the Russian forces, you can really take advantage of.
Sigma is a real number, though. You know, it's like I said, if the environment was the limits to Ukraine comparatively to everybody else's bullshit, everybody's got X. It's convergent.
Or indirect fire coming in. The Ukrainians
your own bullshit when it comes around to your cemetery.
In a very tactical battle. This, however, has very, a large operational component.
That's all you do about it, right?
Implication. So win as many tactical fights as you can. That's what the Ukrainians are demonstrating and need to continue to do.
Tell them punch sand. You know, I mean, it's not me. I know field theory. Well, what the fuck's field theory? I FMA now once all day, punk you are. Get the fuck out of my office. I mean, we're going to talk to your master mason and kick him so hard in the double chin he lands on Mars.
Of Putin, they recently trained with Russian forces, one would assume, to work on
now, again, some recruiter from down in the basic system here. Probably not in that set. Why it comes up like that. Or how to adjust Ted's quarter horse demonstration for $5 on the middle floor.
its official sphere. That this will accelerate.
And then that'll be done. Then that'll be over. I'll be happy. They'll be happy. I had gravity. You got gravity. And if anybody gets off this horse,
to your first point,
and horseshoe print on your chest, dark side.
It's really a legitimate avenue that Putin wants to go down, even though there was this opportunity to have negotiations with the delegation.
You could call this one the horse of many colors, right? This thing coming at you.
That's simply a head fake. That's off to the side. We'll see what comes out of that. But clearly what the Russians are doing is they're increasing their presence with Belarusian forces coming down into the fight.
monkeys.
As you indicated, those forces are fresh. And they've also been in training exercises.
Oh, if I do not have that marshmallow, Bernoulli, you tell Heisenberg and Schrödinger, go grab Carl Sagan and Fogg, and just go ahead and nuke my office.
They don't want to try to separate the forces with the Dnieper River coming in from the east and from the west. So the Belarusians will come in, try to reinforce
like, well, how can you argue with Bernoulli? I mean,
to the north and west. And then
Penrose, Nobel Board, 2021. And of course, you got Maxwell, Raylight, and Jeans in here for probability and statistic analysis of the globular smooth polygon. We got angles on triangles here for trying to figure out the concrete pour on the footer of the bridge. L bracket right there.
We're doing great, and the Ukrainians are not acquitting themselves as well as you might want or you might think. That has to. He's going to have to keep that up.
And General Marks, lastly, I'm just going to bring up a map here that shows members essentially around Russia and around Ukraine.
Oh, you like those tanks and your gear and your shit. In a proper orientation, where it's supposed to be, huh? I'll put wrenches in your suit, dude. Come fucking do it.
Military equipment to Ukraine. We also know, of course, the best intelligence in the world right here watching what the Russians are doing.
Super light. Take it everywhere you go. Every single town is like, this first time you've seen that, fantastic. We're just passing through. Make sure you have it. Get a copy of it. Remember where to find it on the internet. If your fingers can't work it out and your word numbers can't do the thing that they need to do inside of your percentage and ratios of the time of the plasticity of the steel ball.
muscle memory that they've had for decades, in that they